Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Whenever I speak to a young audience, I like to start with a simple reminder. You are your biggest financial asset. Not your bank balance, not your job, not your business idea. You. If you think of yourself as a business, imagine your name on the front of a company. Right now, at your age, I'd happily buy shares in you, because your future earning power is enormous. You have the single greatest advantage in the world: time. And time, when partnered with discipline, is the most powerful force in finance. People often ask me what the secret is. They want the name of a stock, the name of a book, or the name of a strategy. But success, whether financial or personal, is not built on secrets. It's built on habits. Habits that look boring in the short term and miraculous in the long term. Let me tell you something about investing that applies equally to life. You don't need to swing at every ball. Jut. This is not baseball with a strikeout rule. In life and in investing, you can wait for the pitch you truly understand. Most people fail, not because they are incapable, but because they chase everything. They chase trends. They chase distractions. They chase someone else's idea of success. The most valuable skill you can develop is the ability to say no. Every yes carries a cost. When you say yes to noise, you say no to clarity. When you say yes to every opportunity, you say no to the ones that actually matter. People also ask me how to become wealthy. The formula sounds simple, but applying it is harder than it seems. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference, and let it grow. Most people do the opposite. They spend first, worry later, and invest never. When I bought my first shares at age 11, I made about $5. But the real prize wasn't the profit. It was the lesson. I learned how money grows. I learned the power of patience. And I learned that the market is a device that transfers money from the impatient to the patient. Throughout your life, you will meet two types of people: those who widen your world and those who shrink it. Choose carefully. Your inner circle should consist of people who make you better simply by being around them. Those who bring out the best in your behavior, your thinking, and your ambitions. Remember the rule: you cannot make a good deal with a bad person. Character is not a luxury. It is the foundation. If you want to predict where you'll be in 10 years, don't look at your goals. Look at your daily behavior. Look at the people you admire. Write down their qualities. Then ask yourself honestly, which of those qualities you practice. Admiration is cheap. Imitation is valuable. Now, let me talk about risk. People think risk comes from volatility or uncertainty. Risk doesn't come from the market. It comes from not knowing what you're doing. When you invest in something you don't understand, that's risky. When you make a financial decision out of emotion, that's risky. When you follow the crowd instead of your own reasoning, that's risky. Knowledge reduces risk. Not shortcuts, not tips, knowledge. One of the most overlooked forms of wealth is reputation. It takes decades to build and a few seconds to destroy. Guard it fiercely. Every decision you make, every shortcut you take, every moment you choose character or convenience. These choices write your long-term story. People often assume being rich means having money. I've known many rich people who were poor in every way that matters. Being rich is having control over your time. If you wake up in the morning excited about how you're going to spend your day, you're already wealthy. There's something else worth remembering. The biggest investment returns are rarely financial. The return on kindness, on patience, on empathy, on integrity. These dividends compound too, often in ways the world doesn't notice, but your life deeply feels. You're going to fail sometimes. I have. Everyone does. I've made investments that didn't work out, predictions that went wrong, decisions that looked smart at the time and foolish in hindsight. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the cost of admission. You pay a little tuition, learn the lesson, and move forward. Let me end with a simple story. A professor once asked his class to write down the names of the people they admired most in the world. They wrote down qualities like honesty, kindness, courage, discipline, loyalty. Then the professor asked them to write down the qualities of the people they disliked. These lists included arrogance, selfishness, dishonesty, laziness. And then the professor said, "Congratulations, you've just written your life plan. Become the first list. ... Avoid the fecund. Success is not built on brilliance. It's built on consistency. You don't need a high IQ to make good decisions. You need emotional control, long-term thinking, and the ability to avoid self-destruction. You already have the tools. Now build the habits. Protect your reputation. Invest in yourself. Choose good people. And give your life enough time for the compounding to show its magic. Thank you.